I'm the art Robert was talking about, so I'm a little bit proud that I initiated the WS search. I think it's really a killer feature. I would call it a killer feature. It really is awesome, and in combination with Semantic MediaWiki, but why not in combination with Cargo, for example? That's one of the things I'm going to talk about. What I'm going to talk about is about MediaWiki being a very good basis for an open source content services platform. What is a content services platform? By the way, this is not going to be. I'm going to give a summary, I think, of the presentation I did half a year ago, but so it may look like the same presentation, but it isn't. So don't worry. What is a content services platform? That's what we thought was interesting, is that Gartner has something to say about that. He says the content service platform is an evolution of enterprise content management, and it helps organize, manage, and control content for organizations, companies. And I said the wiki way. I think it's interesting to elaborate a little bit on that. There was a discussion yesterday about sharing knowledge the wiki way yesterday, and it seemed like people were saying, well, shouldn't companies, organizations be more like work more in a wiki way? And it seemed a little bit like organizations should have Wikipedians working for them instead of knowledge workers, and that they should focus on, have as a goal to share knowledge instead of meeting business goals. And I think it's perfectly okay if you are a knowledge worker. Well, obviously, in companies and organizations, we don't have Wikipedians, we have knowledge workers, and we need to meet business goals, and our objective is not to share knowledge. That's a means. But of course, it's perfectly all right, and it might be a very good idea if organizations are inspired by the way Wikipedia works and by the way wikis work. And that's, of course, a very good idea. But it must be very clear that we at Wikibase Solutions are in the business of providing business solutions. And so we are dealing with knowledge workers, and we are dealing with meeting business goals. Okay, this is a picture. The difference is, of course, the logo that I showed half a year ago as well. What this picture means is that MediaWiki and Semantic MediaWiki and other extensions and the whole community provide a lot of the features that the critical capabilities that a content services platform should provide. So it really is a very interesting opportunity that we are looking at. The point, however, when we have customers and they all are very interested, but what they want is out-of-the-box solutions. And of course, we have a very large box, you might say. I heard yesterday someone say that we have around 3,500 extensions. But that's a box that is too big, and it's so it's unusable. So customers need to understand and know what works well, works well for them. I think it was Cindy who did a comparison between, or has done a comparison between what is in Wikipedia and what would be in a company wiki when it comes to extensions. Some companies really think that if you copy Wikipedia and put it in the organization, it will work. And but it doesn't. It doesn't, for multiple reasons. And one of the reasons, of course, is that Wikipedia is a very specific use case with very specific extensions as well, but with a very specific goal that doesn't fit organizations. And I think what they are also forgetting is that behind Wikipedia, there is a very solid organization. And so it's not only the platform, it's also people moderating stuff, organizing things, organizing meetings, doing a lot of things to make Wikipedia work. And that's, of course, something that you don't see and that companies don't always understand. So it's different. So what do we think at Wikibase that should be in the box that organizations are thinking of when they want to use MediaWiki for their own organizations, for their own organization? Well, we have put that, I think it's a good idea to put that in different layers. So the basic layer, of course, is MediaWiki itself. And in the second layer, there should be some features that work together well and that you can rely on that they work together well. And that is something that we want to talk about, we want to discuss. And this is for now what I think should be in the box, and that is this list. The spaces are inspired by Confluence. I think I said last time that the MediaWiki Content Services platform should be an open source alternative to products like SharePoint and Confluence. We changed a little bit. Right now, we think it should be an open source alternative to Confluence, and it should integrate with SharePoint. Yeah, that's what our customers want. They want the content services platform, but they also have SharePoint, and they want it to be integrated. For example, they want to have their documents, their SharePoint documents, available in the wiki, or they want, so that's an interesting subject. Spaces is a Confluence concept, and it means that you can organize your wiki in different spaces. Should those spaces be private, which means that if you have with your department or with a group of people a space that you don't want to be readable by other people or people that are not in the space, I think that's something that, so that's an interesting question, and and obviously that is very interlinked with the access control and permission. And it might even be interlinked with the logging, because if you have private spaces and private spaces need to be secure, then you must not only be able to manage that with access control and permissions, but you also must be able to prove that you are, or let's say to verify that. And if you want access control and permissions be based on properties, semantic properties, and you want in the same go be able to search within a space, well, then you have those 5 features integrated. So then you understand very well, I think, that you need those all 5 of those features together, work together. So spaces is about separate spaces in a wiki that contain documents, pages, like we know, of course, in MediaWiki. The semantic data, our default is semantic MediaWiki, and that at this moment this will be stronger, I think, because of the fact that we use Elasticsearch and faceted search, like Robus showed you, which is really a very interesting combination. And we have, Robus mentioned the Council of State, but over there they have hundreds of thousands of pages that have been imported, verdicts, as a matter of fact. And when those verdicts are imported, a lot of metadata and even, let's say, annotations from within the verdict is processed in the way we know that. So you save the page and you get a lot of properties on that page, but there's a lot of information, a lot of semantic data, and searching works very well. And it seems very scalable. It's very performant. The performance is great. So why not stick with SMW? But I talked to, I already discussed this with Jeroen. We would really like to have the opportunity to also use Cargo and put Cargo semantic data in the same Elasticsearch database. So why not? So that if you use WS search like Robus showed you, you can get pages that have Cargo data as well, or just Cargo data. That would be great. So what do we think should be in the box? This is the basis. We have heard, of course, there's a lot of very interesting. There have been already some very interesting presentations and discussions about what companies want, what they would like. And one of them is, of course, the wiki management feature that Lex demonstrated. We all liked very much Charlie's presentation about WS Forms. We are in a discussion, or we are in a discussion about content sharing, and that's of course with page sync or page exchange. Both extensions. They don't do the same, but they are both involved with sharing content beyond the limits of your wiki, and that is something that is very important. What we also see that is very important is that we, and that's more and more, well, what we see and what we think is very interesting is that our customers tend to get larger, so larger companies, larger projects, and then you need to have your DevOps practices in play. You need to be able to use the code pipeline on AWS to go from source code to building containers and deploying them in any number of environments that your customer wants on AWS and on Azure. So that's a very important subject. So what does, in this case, out of the box mean for our customer? I think it means those 3 things. It means that the features must be proven, or as you want, the extensions must be proven. They must work together well, and they must be supported preferably be supported by, for example, the MW stake organization. So some MediaWiki organization that supports those extension. But supported is a very important feature of out-of-the-box extensions. So the question is, or not, perhaps not really the question, that's what I'm saying, is let's do what we are supposed to do. Let's do what our customers think we should do, or I perhaps assume that we are doing already, so don't say that we don't. It's a similar way of looking at the MediaWiki at Wikimedia. We also assume and expect that Wikimedia. There was a discussion yesterday about, I think, about the discussion and about some extent and approved refs or flagged refs. I always mix them up. But the point is that things are not working as smoothly as we expect. Well, that's what our customers say to us as well. If we propose to use an extension or propose to use a visual editor and they expect it to work, and when we advise to use it in forms, then they expect it to work, of course. And there's numerous examples. So our customers expect us to do this, not only build good stuff, but also join forces and also to discuss and align what we are doing. So my question is, that's a very concrete question, how about each Wednesday? We have had meetings the last few months. So my proposal is to meet every Wednesday. And my questions to you, so this is not a question, this is not your question, this is my question. By the way, I only see my presentation. I don't see any questions. So I'm going to have a look if I can. Wait a minute. Yeah. Got it. Does anyone want to join the weekly 1-hour CSP meetings? What are the subjects that you want to discuss? And of course, we are a worldwide community, so what would be a good time? We had some meetings the last weeks around at 3 o'clock CET, but I think everybody on the West Coast of the United States was still sleeping. And so what would be a good time? And what is your email address? And that's so that's really my question to you. So if you can answer that, it would be great. And the next one is, do you have questions? Yeah, well, I am interested. That's a good question, Brian. Brian says how to best give those answers. You can email them at wikibase.nl. That would be a great idea. And that's really a good point. Wait a minute. Oh. And But I'm also interested in hearing some subjects that you might want to discuss. And I have some questions here already from Ryan. I wonder if the idea of spaces can be mapped to the MediaWiki namespaces. Well, as a matter of fact, we have developed an extension for that, and it's called WS Spaces. That doesn't sound like a miracle. And in fact, what we do with that extension is if you create a space from within the wiki, so you're in the wiki and say, I want to create a new space, what happens is that a new namespace is created together with some settings about permissions, so group permissions, and together with some pages, like a home page for the space. And so you don't only get a namespace, but you get a lot of other stuff as well. So the idea is that you can create spaces from within the wiki. Are wiki farms an approach that could be used for spaces? Yeah, well, it becomes an interest. This becomes a very good question if you want to have private spaces, because private spaces don't exist yet. So if you want your space to be private, it better be a separate wiki, and then farms become very interesting. So so this is what they are doing at NASA with their wikis, and that's a very valid approach. But our objective for the future is that within the wiki you also can create private spaces. But this is still a difficult subject. So perhaps wiki farms are for the better option for the short term, if you want to have private spaces.
Not seeing any new questions. If anybody has a new question for Ad, go ahead and add it to the stage element or YouTube stream. And while we're waiting, just one little additional piece of housekeeping. If you're logged in to Hopin, in the upper right next to your profile pic, there's a little up arrow. If you see that red, it means somebody has tried to direct message you. So the platform supports direct messaging and one-on-one conferences. So if you see that, someone's trying to ask you a question or get in touch with you. And I'm not seeing any new questions.
No, I do have yeah, if people want to join the CSP meetings, as I said, and I've said that before, I think already a long time before this, customers of ours say that we are sitting on gold. And what they mean is, of course, that you can make a lot of money with wikis, and that's not what we. Yeah, we have a very nice business, and that's going very well. But what they really find amazing is that the community is so small, and that for this MediaWiki software that everybody knows and everybody can download, there isn't a thriving, more business-oriented, business-focused community, and that's so. I am very interested to know who else is interested in business, a business perspective with MediaWiki. because I think there's a lot of different people, different. Yeah, I think the market is big, and we really want to support growing, make this market and make this opportunity grow.
Well, thanks, Ad. I know the idea of MediaWiki products is becoming, really popular with a lot of consultants and people in the MediaWiki development space. So it's great to see a good structured discussion about it. And I will admit that it's just the timing on your weekly meetings that has been hard for me on the West Coast of the US. But
yeah,
I'm going to try to start making them.
So 5:30 might be better, Brian.
Yeah, I'll start making it. It's just been early.